Right now, as you're just sitting there listening to this, there's an incredible invisible war being fought inside your body. A silent army that's working around the clock, all on your behalf. Today, we're diving into that amazing defense force, your immune system.
I mean, really think about it for a second. We are constantly surrounded by germs, bacteria, viruses, you name it. They're on everything we touch. So why aren't we just sick all the time? How is that even possible? Well, it's because of that invisible war I just mentioned. The secret to all of this comes down to one powerful word: immunity. It's your body's built-in, natural ability to fight off all those disease-causing invaders. And the system that pulls it all off? It's a brilliant two-part defense force. Okay, so first up is what we call your innate immunity. This is the general defense system that you are born with. The best way to think about it is like your body's own personal fortress. You've got walls, moats, and guards on constant patrol, ready to stop any intruder right at the gate. And this fortress has some seriously impressive defenses, split into 4 types. First, you've got the physical walls, like your skin. Simple, but effective. Then you've got physiological barriers, kind of like moats of stomach acid or saliva that destroy microbes. Then there are the cellular guards. These are white blood cells that literally hunt down and eat invaders. And finally, if a cell gets infected, it sends out a cytokine alarm, releasing this protein called interferon that warns all the neighboring cells to lock down. It's an amazing, multi-layered system.
But what happens when a really sneaky enemy manages to breach those fortress walls? Well, that's when you call in the special forces, your acquired immunity. This isn't a system you're born with. No, this is an elite force that learns, adapts, and actually gets stronger with every single battle it fights.
And the difference between these two systems? It's night and day. Your innate, fortress-style immunity is a generalist. It fights every intruder pretty much the same way. But your acquired system? It's a specialist. It develops custom-made weapons for specific enemies. But the most important feature, the thing that is a complete game changer, is its memory.
Seriously, this memory is its superpower. Because remembering an enemy means you're not just ready for it if it comes back, you are prepared to unleash an absolutely devastatingly fast and effective counterattack. So here's what that memory looks like in the real world. The very first time your body meets a new enemy, its response is what we call the primary response. It's kind of slow, not super strong. You'll probably get sick. But the second time that same enemy shows up, whoa. Thanks to memory, your body unleashes a secondary response. It is so much faster, way more powerful, and often it completely wipes out the invader before you even feel a single symptom. So who are the soldiers in this elite army? Let's meet the Special Ops team, B cells and T cells. B cells are like a mobile weapons factory. They pump out this army of proteins we call antibodies, which are designed to lock onto specific pathogens. Then you've got the T cells. They're the field commanders. They don't make antibodies themselves, but they help the B cells get to work, and they also engage in direct, hand-to-hand, well, cell-to-cell combat.
And get this, the T cells also act as the system's intelligence agency. They're constantly going around checking IDs, figuring out which cells belong to your body, what we call self, and which ones are foreign invaders, or non-self. This is exactly why organ transplants are so tricky. If the T cells don't recognize that new organ as self, they will order an attack, and that leads to graft rejection.
Okay, so this acquired system is unbelievably powerful. But how do we actually get it? How do we develop it? Well, our bodies gain these superpowers in 2 very distinct ways, through something called active and passive immunity.
Let's start with active immunity. You can think of this as on-the-job training. Your body encounters a pathogen, learns from it, and then builds its very own antibodies. Now, this process is a little slow, but the protection you get is really long-lasting. Passive immunity, on the other hand, is like calling for immediate reinforcements. You're given ready-made antibodies from an outside source. It's incredibly fast, but the protection is only temporary. And we see examples of these all the time. Active immunity is what you get after you've recovered from something like the chickenpox, or it's what you get from a vaccination, where a weakened version of a pathogen is introduced just to train your system without actually making you sick. Passive immunity, a perfect example is when a mother passes antibodies to her baby through her milk. It gives the baby a ready-made defense system. Another one is when someone gets an antitoxin shot for a snakebite. That provides an immediate, pre-made defense. Now, this whole system it's a masterpiece of evolution. It's brilliant, but it's not perfect. Sometimes, this incredibly complex defense force can make mistakes, or it can overreact.
One of the most common misfires is an allergy. This is basically your immune system having a total meltdown, an exaggerated, panicked response to something that's actually completely harmless. Like pollen or dust or cat dander, it mistakes a totally harmless substance for a deadly threat.
So what's actually happening when you suddenly start sneezing like crazy? Well, first, you're exposed to that allergen, let's say pollen. Your body mistakenly produces a very specific kind of antibody, called IgE. These antibodies then cause certain cells in your body to release a flood of chemicals, most famously, histamine. And it's that histamine that causes all those classic allergy symptoms, the sneezing, the watery eyes, the whole shebang.
But an even more serious misfire is something called autoimmunity. This is essentially a case of friendly fire. For reasons we don't fully understand, sometimes it's genetic, this system loses its ability to tell self from non-self. And when that happens, it begins to attack the body's own healthy cells. Rheumatoid arthritis, for example, is a classic autoimmune disease where the immune system attacks a person's own joints.
When you really boil it all down, this entire sophisticated system, especially that memory-based acquired immunity, it all evolved based on one foundational skill, the ability to tell us from them. It's the biological genius that keeps us safe, all resting on that simple yet profound ability to tell a foreign organism from our own cells. But that leaves us with a really fascinating question to think about. This system of ours was forged over thousands and thousands of years of constant exposure to a world full of microbes. So now, in our modern, often hyper-clean, sanitized environments, what's the future for our immune system? Is it getting bored? Is it becoming oversensitive? That right there is the next chapter in this incredible story, and it's unfolding right inside of us every single day.